You are recognized in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank you for coming to my office and going over some of the concerns that I had because I think the bill is great, clarifying some things. I want to thank the Munoz family for being here. It's important to tell the story. I also want to, I appreciate the comments of the teacher. And actually, as you remember, that was one of my concerns because one of my concerns was it's going to fall on the teacher ultimately. And we want to make sure the teacher is in the classroom teaching. And so we continue to add more stress. And so that was one concern I had. Also, the other concern I had was being redundant with federal. And I think I expressed to you, there's districts out there enforcing what we already have in federal law. And I'm afraid that those good districts now we're gonna put more burdens on them and on, administrative portion, which, like Rep Henson says, how are we gonna pay for that? So ultimately, it's a good bill. I hope that as we move forward, we continue to work on those little details just to make sure that it gets to be a greater bill than it already is. Thank you. I will support it.
Thank you, Representative. We will now go to Representative Dunkley in debate. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rep. Tendridge, thank you for presenting this bill. I think my sister will be.
Let me finish what I've been trying to do for the
And I know I
last how
shared
many
with you,
hours?
some of her
Your legal set's
challenges
not going
that I
anywhere.
get to hear regarding my niece. While I understand the issue of who will administer this, I believe a lot of parents like the Munoz who came in today are going to be grateful to see this move forward. And my sister, I'll be sure to share it with her because I remember as I was reading the bill last night, she called me and I told her she was on my mind and she wanted to know the outcome. So I know she'll be happy to hear this, but as it continues to move forward, I look forward to you addressing to the concerns that were spoken here today by our colleagues, and also to be able to strengthen it so we'll have an even better bill. So thank you, and I'll be supporting the bill today.
Thank you, Representative. We will now go to Representative Lopez in debate. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry I spoke before after the amendment. But based on the debates and comments that I heard, I remember when I was a teacher, we had meetings at Colonial High School every 9 weeks to clarify with the ESC director about all the ESC students that we have in our classroom. And I have on my binder a portion of all the students that have ESC, plans to make sure that I was following up with the students. I think that this is a responsibility of everybody, all of us, the teachers, the parents, this is a legal thing that needs to be structured, and you're providing the timeline so no ESC students stay behind. We need a timeline. We need to say, you know what, this student needs help, and as soon as possible. And we have to put our efforts. And I don't, I think that when you have the passion as a teacher, you want to do it. But we need the district and the school board members to develop a type of policy to provide support to those teachers, because sometimes we have a lot of students that have the IEP and we don't have enough support in our districts. I think that that's something that is not on us, it's in the school board. So that's something that is over there, it's not over here. I think that the timeline is a great idea. Give them time, because one day can make a difference in a child's life. That's how I see it. And the parents need to know their children's IEP, because that's the only way that the parents can look for their rights. And as the teacher, you're not following with this and he's failing. You are not giving them individualized attention. You are not putting him maybe at front of the line. Maybe you're not putting any visuals. That is maybe one of the descriptions in the IEP. he's not using a dictionary. We have so many different aspects in an IEP that if the parents know, they can request based on the IEP to the teacher, having a conversation to work as a team. How come a parent can work with the teacher if he doesn't know, she or he doesn't know the IEP plan? That's how I think. As a teacher, I think that this bill is helping to be more on the same page, parents and teachers. I think that we have to be more proactive in the districts to make sure that the teacher doesn't feel, don't feel that burden of more work and feel more, more maybe nervous or stressed out. We want to help our teachers. I think our teachers are doing amazing. Our ESC teachers are great. I think we have the best teachers in the nation. This is me, I'm biased with Florida. But I highly appreciate your bill. I don't see putting more responsibility on one side and on the other one. I don't see that. I see this as a teamwork, and parents will be very, very thankful that they understand the process of learning and working together with the teachers and the system. So thank you so much. I'll be up in the bill.
Thank you, Representative. We will now go to Representative Blanco in debate. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Rep. Tendrich. I know you reached out to me yesterday to talk, and I didn't have time, but it seems to be more and more in our role that we're talking about how we address kids with special needs. We've had more conversations about this topic in this committee than I could have ever imagined. But it really reflects to the challenges our teachers have, our local schools have, and how there needs to be an emphasis to build some kind of structure. I know our school boards and our schools do great jobs to manage that process, but it's not a level landscape. It's not something that has the full checks and balance. I think this is a great bill, but I think so much more needs to get done so that we can make sure all our kids are getting the education they deserve and the coverage is made and the support is made to provide for these things. I don't think our teachers and our schools have the resources. I thank many of my colleagues who have spoken to it, but my concern as a legislator, as a husband of an educator, and really a passion for our young children, that we take a look at this. It probably has to become its own topic of discussion within here to kind of figure out, how we're doing as a state. And I'm sure all the school boards, I know the school board associations were over here these last couple of days, and I'd love to hear more from you and my local school board on what we can do collectively to help enhance this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, representatives. Are there any further committee members wishing to debate? Very well, seeing none, you are recognized to close, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to start off by saying that this bill was centered around the parents' voices. This is a parent-centered bill brought to me by parents like Ms. Munoz, who saw that this was needed to make sure that the children have the best outcomes. My mom was also a teacher. She taught exceptional students as well. And she knew that came with a really big responsibility. And that responsibility is that those children deserve, those parents deserve that extra touch and that extra support. And, this bill, I think, just streamlines it and makes it into a process that everyone can follow and the parents understand, the school understands. So I'm also wanting to address Rep. Hinson. There's usually an ESC coordinator or director in the school, and they're falling under the administrator part. Many times they'll know if the service provider is absent that day. If that service provider is absent that day, they have five school days just to let the parents know that the service was not provided. It's not overly burdensome because it's not every accommodation like the read out loud within the classroom that the teacher's providing. So, working with some of the teachers that actually teach ESC and with who follow through with IEPs. This is what we have done to make sure that we don't put so much burden on the teachers. And this was actually recommended by those in that line of work. Additionally, right now, the advocacy for parents is tremendously hard with not knowing. The parents are having a hard time advocating for their kids if they don't even know if their services are being provided or not. If the child is coming home and they're assuming that those services are being done and they are not being told so, how is that parent supposed to advocate for their child in the best way they can? There's no way they can do that. This bill makes sure that the parents are in the know with what their child's outcomes are projected to be, because if they're not getting their services, their outcomes won't be where they're supposed to be. This is really about making sure that everyone's accountable. The parent orientations are going to make sure that the parents can stay more engaged, that they understand the process. It would actually take a lot of stress off the administration if they don't have to continuously reach out to the school for support on how to do this, what's this and what's that. You know, Ms. Munoz through talking, there's a portal for IEP students that for their parents to even access everything, and most of the parents don't even know that there's a portal available. And so these are things that we really need to make sure that we're getting the information out to the parents and that the accountability is there. As for Raymond, I don't know if you saw our chair, Rizzo, here. He, just like all of us, were filled with pride when you came up here and spoke up for yourself and also for all your classmates. It was inspiring, and your success story is something I think that we're going to all take on home with us when we go home tonight. And you should be extremely proud, just like we are, of what you did today. Thank you for coming up and advocating. With that, members, I ask for your favorable support and I close.
Having closed on our bill, Megan, please call the roll.
Chair Rizzo,
Yes.
Representatives Anton, Bankson,
Yes.
Benaroch,
Yes.
Burfield, Blanco,
Yes.
Dunkley,
Yes.
Gerwig,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Hodgers,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
McFarland, Michael,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Owen, Tendrich,
Yes.
Yurkowski.
Yes.
14 yeas, 0 nays.
Members, by your vote, HB 615 will be reported favorably. Congratulations. Members,
you.
before we leave, we do have an announcement. We have a recognition requested by our distinguished member of the committee, Representative Hodgers. So he has someone up from Brevard County School Board, Ms. Katie Campbell. Hello there, who is a board member. Thank you very much for serving in that capacity, and welcome to the Academic Success Committee. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Student Academic Success for All Subcommittee. Even you, Representative Blanco, success for you as well. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation today. And as representative, hold on, Representative Yurkowski, wait a minute. As representative, I do want to say one thing. As far as Representative Blanco mentioned in his debate, closing on the last bill, we have had a lot of discussion about special needs students or divergent students. And it is all of our responsibility to make sure that every student is recognized, every student is heard, every student is educated in the state of Florida. And we will continue to do that. So thank you for bringing that up, Representative. And with that, Representative Tendrich moves that we rise. Without objection, we are adjourned.